Good morning, friends, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever in the world you are. It's great to be with you, great to see everybody starting to arrive, to join for our final day this week, at least. Another wonderful course being offered next week, I believe, by Ula. I'm sure some of you will be there as well, supporting your practice throughout this month and beyond. And how are you doing today? How are you? Yeah, sort of the waves of experience, waves of life, ups and downs, right? I sort of I always feel a little bit whenever I sit with Martin, when those of you who know Martin well, when he's giving these meditations at the Mulan, there's this wonderful sound of frogs or nature in the background, and it's very conducive, very natural. And I always feel a little bit of sort of comparison, disappointment that the sounds you might hear in the background from where I am in London are the waking sounds of the city. But some of you know I cultivated and began my practice when I was living in Soho in central London, in one of the really busy streets above a bunch of bars and restaurants. And my early morning practice, I became very familiar with the particular rhythms of the city, like the rhythms of nature. And the sound of the recycling van coming and taking the recycling away. At first used to kind of irritate me, agitation. And then I kind of reoriented to it and I thought, oh, what a wonderful demonstration of what practice and Buddhist teaching is about. Everything gets reused, everything is changing, recycling, the process of changing into something else. So it's strange to find Buddhist teachings in the sound of the recycling van, but it is possible to find the teachings in any experience, no matter where you are, no matter what you're working with. The beautiful truth of these ancient teachings is to be found everywhere, I think. So, greetings everyone. It's bowing to welcome you all here. As always, I'll just post the link to Dana donation for the week. If you've not had a chance to do that yet, there is the link, always appreciated. But here we are, final day of this particular course, but the practice moves ever forwards. And I wanted to offer just appreciation to you, just appreciation for your energies this week, your efforts, for your curiosity, the desire to practice, desire to explore. It's one of the good desires, I think. But just acknowledging, this particular exploration has its challenges. And I've really sensed from comments and from exchanges with many of you that there's richness to some of the challenges that these hindrances and obstacles can bring up. And so maybe offering yourself appreciation and acknowledgement for this kind of beautiful effort, the goodness of your energy this week and today. And so I'm not going to talk so much today. We're just going to sit. But before we do, just that gentle reminder that really over time, I've found working with these hindrances and obstacles has a wonderful way of depersonalizing them. You kind of take them a little bit less seriously or less personally. We can find a bit of humor in them. So, this pattern once again, here you are. My old friend, sleepiness, or whatever it is. Through the familiarity, we can become quite skillful at noticing when obstacles to meditation are present. We can either label them and return, or we can investigate them as we explore the last few days. But ultimately becoming familiar with them so that we can become familiar when they are absent. And that quite lovely experience sometimes of one or more, or maybe even all of these hindrances feeling quite absent, and practice being alive in a different way. So we'll set up whatever posture you would like to really abide in. Sitting is one of but 4 postures, as many of you may know: standing, walking, sitting, lying down, all postures taught in the suttas. But finding a posture which is supportive to both a feeling of steadiness, but also a feeling of being awake or alive, present. And that kind of settling, sometimes coming to the practice, it's like that beautiful pool we spoke about on the first day, the forest pool, and the sediment and the silt and the algae and the rest of it. It's all swirling and stirred up. But sitting with a little stillness, intention, eventually the sediment, the dust begins to settle and the water becomes clear. We'll begin and end with the sound of the bell. So allowing yourself to arrive. And that process of arriving is continual, ever unfolding, like waves on shores. You might attend to the physical body for a few moments. Notice if anything might release or soften, or feel connected to the ground beneath. Perhaps imagining or embodying a sense of coming to practice with the freshness of spring flowers, even if it's a little sleepy for you. The freshness of springtime flowers. I'm going to begin with a reading which has really helped guide and shaped my practice for many years. And it's about a forest pool again. You may know this one. It comes from the Venerable Ajahn Chah in the Thai forest tradition of practice. I'll read it twice to you. Ajahn Chah spoke the following: "Try to be mindful and let things take their natural course. Then your mind will become still in any surroundings like a clear forest pool. All kinds of wonderful, rare animals will come to drink at the pool, and you will clearly see the nature of all things. You will see many strange and wonderful things come and go, but you will be still. This is the happiness of the Buddha. Try to be mindful and let things take their natural course. Then your mind will become still in any surroundings, like a clear forest pool. All kinds of wonderful, rare animals will come to drink at the pool, and you will clearly see the nature of all things. You will see many strange and wonderful things come and go, but you will be still. This is the happiness of the Buddha. And so today, simply noticing what you're noticing, if it's breath or sensation or something else. It's being with it like an interested friend. And gently being with whatever is alive for you right now. This changing, shifting, shimmering, moment to moment experience of presence. And an invitation to spend a little while, perhaps moving through the 5 hindrances or obstacles, sensing if one is present or absent, moving to the next. And it's taking stock of what it's like right now. If there's a tendency to get lost in the story, perhaps gently labeling and gently returning to breath, to body. Notice if there's any body tension that might be softened, any tension that might be softened. All kinds of wonderful, rare animals will come to drink at the pool, and you will clearly see the nature of all things. And how might there be fresh curiosity right now? Fresh curiosity. And sensing into breath, flowing, changing. And an invitation these last few minutes to offer loving kindness or metta. You might have phrases that you use offering kindness to this Sangha, sitting together. Or you might use the following phrases. May we be safe. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we be at ease. And take heart, take courage and support from our community across the world, sending you good wishes. So sharing a final reading for the practice, final poem. I'll read it twice. This is by a poet and writer, Alberto Rios. It's called We Are of a Tribe. We are of a tribe. We plant seeds in the ground and dreams in the sky, hoping that someday the roots of one will meet the upstretched limbs of the other. It has not happened yet. We share the sky, all of us, the whole world. Together we are a tribe of eyes that look upwards, even as we stand on uncertain ground. The earth beneath us moves, quiet and wild, its boundaries shifting, its muscles wavering. The dream of sky is indifferent to all this, impervious to borders, fences, reservations. The sky is our common home, the place we all live. There we are in the world together. The dream of sky requires no passport. Blue will not be fenced. Blue will not be a crime. Look up. Stay a while. Let your breathing slow and know that you always have a home here. We are of a tribe. We plant seeds in the ground and dreams in the sky, hoping that someday the roots of one will meet the upstretched limbs of the other. It has not happened yet. We share the sky, all of us, the whole world. Together we are a tribe of eyes that look upwards, even as we stand on uncertain ground. The earth beneath us moves, quiet and wild, its boundaries shifting, its muscles wavering. The dream of sky is indifferent to all this, impervious to borders, fences, reservations. The sky is our common home, the place we all live. There we are in the world together. The dream of sky requires no passport. Blue will not be fenced. Blue will not be a crime. So look up. Stay a while. Let your breathing slow and know that you always have a home here. You always have a home here. So let's take a moment to gently attend to your body if you need to stretch or shift posture. And so, sensing there are many possibilities in this practice. And these two readings or two stories I've shared to begin and end the week around the forest pool, if something in that image or that idea resonates with you, plant it like a seed in your heart to help support your practice going forwards. So, just as an overall recap, I think you've probably got it by now. But hindrances are just one tool. They can be challenging to engage with, but also can be really fruitful. We can either notice a hindrance, label it, and return to the object of meditation, or we can use the obstacle itself. The obstacle is the way, that saying. You can use the hindrance itself and investigate, be curious, sense into if it's permanent or impermanent in its nature. And over time, perhaps the experiences, they become absent or very quiet. Any sediment, any silt, any mud or algae in the pool gently settles, and the water becomes clear. We can see our reflection more clearly. This is the happiness of the Buddha, the words from Ajahn Chah. So as always, just inviting final questions and comments from this practice or from the week. So whilst you consider if there's anything you'd like to share in chat, I mentioned yesterday that I'll share some ideas and resources around habit, a kind of contemporary approach to habit. So earlier in the week, one technique I spoke about for helping to combat or work with desire or breaking habits is the 10-minute tip. And say to yourself, I want to do this thing, but I'm going to leave it 10 minutes. And if I still want to do it, then I'll do it. When 10 minutes comes, you can ask yourself the question again. It's a simple but quite effective technique to break, moderate bad habits, or unhelpful habits, I'd rather call them, or unskillful ones. So that's one way of working with desire. We also looked at ways to reduce or increase friction around habits. So if the habit you're looking to establish is daily sitting practice in meditation, for instance, if that's something you're aspiring to this year, you can place your cushion or your chair out the night before. If you're practicing in the morning, you can set things up in a way which reduces any friction to that particular practice or habit. And then I'll talk briefly about two other techniques that you may have come across. What I'll do with all of this information is I'll send it to the wonderful Georgie. We'll send out all the poems to you, any links or references I've spoken about this week, and I'll share a little detail on these particular habit techniques as well. So don't feel you have to remember it all now. I'll make sure you have that information. But two more little techniques. One is called habit stacking. You may have come across this. The idea is that you take an existing habit that's part of your routine and you attach a new habit you'd like to form with it. So, for example, if you wake up every morning and you have a pot of tea or a cup of coffee, that's quite an automated habit you may have. If there's a new habit you're looking to establish, you could attach it before that habit. Terrifying to think of doing something before coffee personally, but maybe it's you want to write or draw a little bit more. Maybe you want to practice gentle movement. Maybe you want to cultivate a regular meditation practice. You could build it into an existing habit routine that you already have, and so that the other habits become almost a cue for the new habit you're making. So that's habit stacking. And the other habit technique, which I still do for some reason that's really helped me over the years, is called habit chaining. And habit chaining is basically just a way of tracking for a period of time the days which you happily are able to make that new habit happen, if it's a helpful habit you want to establish. Usually you do this with a simple chart or a simple sheet. I have a little sheet with little boxes. And each day that you are able to engage with the habit, you can put a little tick or a gold star. Only after a few days, you get a little row in these boxes. And the kind of persuasive factor of this is we tend to not like to break a chain. So often what will happen is you'll get 3 or 4 days in your little tracker. Oh, good, feeling very nice. This has been supportive. And there's that day you just don't want to do that habit. You look at your little tracker. As silly as this may seem, you're like, I don't want to break that little chain that I've got. So you engage in the habit and you tick your little box. So these simple techniques have been proven quite effectively for many people in recent years to help either break or establish new habits. I'll send a bit more detail on those in the follow-up content that Georgie will send out. So I'm going to have a little scan of the chat box. I can see a comment from Susanna. I believe these lovely sharings have been recorded. Yes. So the recordings, we will send details of all that out to you, but actually the recordings are uploaded after the course and they will appear within the Sangha Live website. You can go to, I think it might be in recordings or daily meditations, but there's all the historical courses there as well, which you're Really welcome to dig into, have a look if anything from the teachers and practitioners in this community appeals to you and could be supportive. There's a big library and back catalogue there. So I'm just showing appreciation to those of you. Thank you, Doro. Thank you, Rosie and Patricia. Much metta to all. Yes, really nice to offer metta to community. Martina, thank you. I find the pool very helpful too. A comment from Joss. Thank you for the beautiful guidance and teachings. Hindrances are really helpful focus and perspective to peer into the pool with. Lovely expression. Whilst knowing our deep belonging. Yeah, and peering into the pool, seeing what's there. A comment from Heidi saying, the teachings on hindrances this week have been very helpful to me. I realized today that I have never been able to label my planning mind, which often takes over during meditation. I believe this is a form of restlessness. Thank you so much for these teachings. It sounds like that's been really insightful, Heidi, and I relate to that planning mind. I encounter that a lot. And yeah, for sure, I would go with your exploration that restlessness is a big part of that, right? So thank you, Alison. Thank you for this week together, for the readings and poems. I'm glad that it's comforting to you. Thank you, Heidi, again. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Annie and John. Thank you, Miriam. I think that is. Nicola commenting, it helped me so much to let go and release. My inquiry into my distractions were a gateway for me to do this. Thank you. Wonderful. Really wonderful that that's your experience and has resonated. And yeah, I'd like to echo that wonderful sentiment from Nicola, that the distractions and the hindrances can feel like a hindrance, right? The baggage. It's like, oh, this thing I don't want to deal with. But they really are a gateway. And the obstacle is the way. They really are a gateway into the other things we might aspire to from our practice. Sometimes a case of looking where we might least expect to find things. So, question from Arachi. Question, how will we receive the poems in an email? I need to double check with George. I believe they get posted, probably some of you in the Sangha know this better than I do, so feel free to comment if you do know. I believe they will get shared within Sangha Live and within the course that you've signed up to, and that should come through as an email, I believe. If anyone can confirm that, that would be really helpful. Thank you, Sina. Thank you, Tida. And yes, Tida, sharing thanks to everyone for your collective presence. The forest pool gives me a focus to move forwards with. And appreciating you, Liz and Monica, for your comments and reflections. So again, leave a little question from Manuel. Hello, Manuel. Hello, James. Thank you for all these beautiful sessions. I take so much with me. I was wondering if you could give me advice of places for ashrams where to do first vipassana. So I assume you mean silent retreat, using that word. There is a lot out there, and sometimes it's hard to find a reliable one. Yeah, there's lots of, I'm sure the community here could write an incredible list of recommendations. Feel free to message me or contact me separately. If you let me know where you're based, and I can find out local places you can do that. I'm based here in the UK. I typically used to practice when I was under the teachings of Goenka over at Dharma Deepa in Gloucestershire, near the border of Wales, I think. I wonder if anybody here has practiced at Dharma Deepa. I'm sure you have. More recently, in recent years, I sustained my practice at Theravadan Buddhist monastery, Thai Forest Monastery, just outside of London. It's called Amaravati. I can share that with you, Manuel. Amravati has been kind of very supportive to my practice in recent years, and the community there is a very, very kind of beautifully balanced practice and community between kind of mindfulness and heartfulness practices. There's a lot of love and support, as well as rigor in that tradition. So thank you, Maria. Thank you, Claire. Wonderful to share a fellow traveller in recovery. Yeah. So everybody, just once again, sharing appreciation to the community, to all of you being here. And I always feel a bit funny about sharing the donation link so frequently, but I'll share the donation link again. Just if this week has been supportive, if the community has been supportive, we rely entirely on donations. You know, as a Buddhist principled organization, it's the donations which enable all of this to happen. So anything you can offer goes to support everybody here in the Sangha as we continue offering these teachings and this community. So yes, I can see from Katharina, Gaia House. I'm some of you who know Gaia House in the UK. I'll be with Martin, assisting Martin Elwood at Gaia House this September. I can't remember the exact date, but just whilst I remember, Martin and I will be sharing 5 days of practice at Gaia House in September this year. Lots of love, everybody. Great to see the comments. Wishing you a wonderful rest of your day, your weekend, and if you choose to sit in practice this weekend, if you're sitting alone by yourself, take heart. Some of us may be sitting with you at the same time, and somewhere out there in the world, in cities, in forests, in caves, in mountains, by oceans, there are people sitting with you in the goodness of this practice. Much love, everybody. Deep bows to you all. Until next time.